Welcome to the Asia Garment Hub webinar on supply chain sustainability through collaboration. My name is Tamsin Lejeune, and furthering collaboration across the garment sector and the fashion industry has been a personal mission for me since I founded the Ethical Fashion Forum way back in 2005, when there wasn't a lot going on in this space. In the webinar, we will be introducing our speakers. So that will be we'll be introducing the Asia Garment Hub, if we could go to the speaker page, and how you can make the most of it. Hearing from representatives from GIZ and ILO, the founding partners of the Asia Garment Hub, and learning from four inspiring speakers from organizations that have been key to the development of this resource and community. Our work with Common Objective. My name is Tamsin Lejeune. I'm founder and CEO of Common Objective, and we're the leading platform for sustainability and sustainable business across the fashion sector. And our work with GIZ began a year ago when we first discussed joining forces to continue the work of the Asia Garment Hub that began in 2019. And at the time, we'd partnered with the UN Global Compact to look at how we could accelerate action towards better practices across the fashion sector. And through research and interviews, we looked at over 50 initiatives across the fashion sector that had launched to further sustainability best practice. The fashion sector is unique in that it has more initiatives than almost any other. And this is a positive. Way back in 1989, the Clean Clothes campaign launched. Since then, in the last 12 years, there's been more than 2 initiatives every year launching, all focused on addressing the real challenges that we face as a sector towards sustainability and ethical best practices. So we looked at, through research and interviews, over 50 initiatives across the fashion sector that had been launched to further better practices, from the Clean Clothes campaign to Textile Exchange, Global Fashion Objective, Fashion Pact, and many others. And our research found some really interesting things. Firstly, only 2% of all of these initiatives had HQs in the global south. This despite the vast majority of fashion production happening there. And the vast majority of these organizations are led and funded by brands, with less than 20% having suppliers at board level or strategic decision-making level. And in addition, 98% of these organizations were producing resources, with 76% focused on knowledge sharing. So for brands and retailers, this makes it pretty difficult to navigate. And our research found that many initiatives, many brands and retailers have joined a lot of different platforms, with H&M, for example, being a member of 72 different initiatives. So the Asia Garment Hub was founded to create a central platform for resource and collaboration, as well as to elevate the voice and leadership of suppliers. So it was perfectly matched with the findings of this research. And Co was created to harness technology to help do this. And we now reach 65,000 members, professionals, and have quite sophisticated content and collaborative capability. So in a way, the Asia Garment Hub and Common Objective is a bit of a match made in heaven in relation to what we can do to take the mission of this initiative forward. So with that, I'm going to pass over to Tia from GIZ to tell us who you are and let us know a little bit about what the mission and goals were for you, achievements, and what you would like to see happen next.
Sure. Thank you, Tamsin. Yeah, my name is Tia. I work for GIZ Fabric. This is a regional project working in 6 countries on a more sustainable textile industry. And I've been working on the Asia Garment Hub for almost 5 years together with David Williams from the ILO. And for those who are a bit newer to the community, so the Asia Garment Hub is a digital one-stop shop tailored to the garment and textile sector in Asia. And as I mentioned before, it was created as a joint initiative between GIZ and ILO. And I think it has grown into a trusted resource hub for the industry over the years. And the hub brings together a wide range of voices. This includes manufacturer voices, brands, workers, employers organizations, civil society, multi-stakeholder initiatives. And you can find all sorts of resources and reports from different stakeholders across Asia and a lot of industry information. And before we started the Asia Garment Hub as the knowledge platform, we did some research and we found that there's no centralized platform for industry news and information and resource sharing. So that's why we got together and basically started the idea of the Asia Garment Hub. And the Asia Garment Hub was launched in 2021 and has since a lot of members and especially a lot of resources. We have around 900 resources by now that can be shared across the industry.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So one more thing, why do you think the partnership matters?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, there have been, or there are a lot of organization and in the sector, and we have to tackle the challenges together to make change. And the hub, for example, it brings together so many different stakeholders. So the collaboration is key. And especially now with Common Objective, we think that we found a partner that can take over all the knowledge we gathered since a few years and create longevity for it. Because we're projects, we are funded by the government, for example, like GIZ. So there's always like project cycles, but now it's time to hand over the hub and create longevity for this. Yeah.
Thank you. Something our team has been really inspired with throughout working on the project is the amount of supplier focus there is. And having looked across our research and having worked in the sector for over 20 years, we know how rare that is. So there's a gem of something really, a seed of something really exciting. And you'll learn a little bit more about that as we talk about the hub. So thank you. I'll pass over to David, who is manager for resilient, inclusive and sustainable supply chains at the ILO. David, would you like to say a little bit about yourself and the mission, goals, and why the partnership matters?
Sure. Thanks, Tamsin, and good day to everyone joining today's discussion. As was introduced, my name is David Williams. I work for the International Labour Organization, and specifically, I work in the area of labor standards and supply chains. So over the years, I've been focusing particularly on Southeast Asia. I'm based in Bangkok, Thailand, and I work across South and Southeast Asia. I spent many years working in the garment industry on social compliance initiatives with the ILO and the World Bank. And I also work in a number of other sectors as well, manufacturing sectors, agricultural sectors, seafood, and so on. I'm also very proud to be one of the co-founders of the Asia Garment Hub, which is the subject of today's discussion. When I think back to the origin story of the Asia Garment Hub, which actually goes back to 2019 when we first started kind of bouncing around ideas for the hub. Two words really came to mind. It was knowledge and community. So from the ILO's perspective and from my perspective at that time, those were always at the heart of the ambition for the hub. So not just to share information, but to create a space where knowledge could be translated into action through connections, through collaboration, shared learning, and so on. So, and as Tia mentioned at the time, there was no dedicated space online that reflected this ambition for specifically the garment industry in Asia. So we knew that there was a niche that we could contribute to and fill, and we really wanted to create a place where people could find what they needed, whether it be insights on the industry, data, news to keep up to date, tools on sustainability, good practices, or just people in the industry who are like-minded, who may be able to share experience, may be able to strike up collaboration. So really a place where people could find what they needed without having to navigate the huge maze, which Tamzin alluded to, given the sheer volume of initiatives that exist out there in the garment industry. Really try to cut through some of the noise, to curate content. And another thing from my perspective, what I really wanted to do was break out of our bubble in the ILO and really engage with new audiences who wouldn't traditionally speak to the ILO, and perhaps the ILO wouldn't traditionally speak to them. They might find what we produce too dense or inaccessible, even though we believe, of course, in the ILO that we have great material. It's clearly, it doesn't speak to all audiences. So we wanted to be a kind of clearinghouse for not just the ILO resources, but for resources across the industry, but curating it in a digestible format for people who are busy and working in the garment industry. So those are some of the kind of key ambitions, and I'm very proud of some of the kind of thematic content that we produced on the Asia Garment Hub over the years. And I'm very excited, of course, that we are entering a new chapter with this merger with Common Objective, which I would reiterate Tamzin's message that I think the alignment is clear, and the shared goals are also clear.
Thank you very much. So we're now going to move into telling you a little bit about the hub and how you can make the most of it. We've worked really hard to take what was started and adapt it. Our goal from the beginning has been, how can we maximize value of this for our users and maximize engagement? So I'm going to share my screen on the hub. So can everybody see that okay? So you're looking at the dashboard of Common Objective. For anybody who isn't already a member of Common Objective, you can join in a couple of minutes, and it's free, completely free to participate. You can also create a profile and get a presence there. We have quite a lot of community capability. So what we've done is we've promoted the hub throughout. What you're looking at my dashboard. So one of the features of Common Objective is that we know that there's so much information out there and people have very little time. So you're able to set your preferences, which result in what you see on your dashboard. You're also matched with notices, so we'll tell you a little bit more about that. Andy will in the next section, but you're also matched with organizations and people. And what's exciting about us, about the Common Objective community, is that the more sustainable a business, and this is especially valuable for suppliers, the higher its search ranking. And we do see our highest ranking, amazing suppliers doing incredible things, getting a lot of customer and traffic through the site. So that's the ultimate. If we can work to create an ecosystem in which it matters commercially to operate more sustainably, then we can start to move the dial. So navigating to the hub, you can also, if you're looking for the hub, you can also find it in the drop down here, in the Connect drop down in the Partner Hub. And I'm going to hand over to Melanie to tell us a little bit more about the hub and the content. Then Andy will talk about the community aspects.
Great. Thanks so much, Tamzin. So the hub is a fantastic resource. We're so excited to have this on Common Objective. It's fantastic if you're a supplier or a manufacturer. There is lots of information on there that's pertinent to you. There are case studies, there's guidance, there's tools. Also, as we said, elevates the voice of suppliers. So there's a lot of supply insights and perspectives that can be found in the hub. And also, if you're a brand, there are lots of, I said, insider insights. It's a really unique, some really unique content on there, which will allow you to understand ESG from a supplier perspective. But there are also resources you can share with your supply chain, as well as reports with calls to action that are specific to you as a brand. We also have reports on there that will be of interest to anybody working in the wider civil society and academia as well. So something for everyone. So if we could start with supply insights, Tamzin. So supply insights, this is where you'll find some fantastic content, as we said, that will give you a real insight into what suppliers are thinking and importantly, what they're feeling about ESG generally. There's both social and environmental content here. And you'll see the image content that's got the graphics, graphic banners above them. That's from a unique series of workshops that were run by the Fashion Producer Collective. And we're going to be hearing from Annette Sotti, one of the co-founders of the Fashion Producer Collective, in a minute. What's really great is that these are insider insights. This was a closed forum where suppliers were able to share how they felt, and what their challenges were. They've been it's been anonymized, so we're able to share that with you, and it's been put in a bite-sized format so you can get an overview in a very quick way what the key takeaways were from those conversations, calls to action, etc. So that's a really useful series to take a look at. If we can now go back to the Hub Tamsin and look at country hubs. So country hubs are going to be really useful for brands. They give you an overview of a country if it's a country you've not sourced from before. If we can just have a look through the slide deck, Tamsin, it gives you an overview of the key export markets, labor laws, regulations. It's got sources so that you can explore some of those resources in more detail. And specifically for brands and suppliers, there's lots of country-specific resources and case studies on these pages. You will also find resources that are in the local language, in this case Bangla, because we're looking at the Bangladesh site. You also can access the archive where you will find more resources on the Asia Garment Hub site that was run by GIZ. So lots in there. There's 7 countries that you'll find these country hub pages for. So if we can go back to the top, Tamsin. Next up, we have Asian Dialogue series. So this is another original content series. So there were a series of Asian Dialogue seminars run by GIZ with experts and manufacturers and leaders within supply chains, all coming together to discuss some of the challenges and also the solutions. So they have been distilled into some of these reports, which you can see now. So if we can just have a look at the seminar summary. There's a quick bite-sized summary, gives you the discussion topics, who the speakers were, tells you the key takeaways, proposed solutions, and calls to action. But if you want to watch the full recording, if you scroll down, you'll be able to see the full recording with timestamps as well. So you can dive right in to the parts that matter to you. So there, again, another original content series that I really recommend. And if we go back to the top, reports and training. So as David mentioned, sometimes some of the reports can be quite dense, lots of incredible information, but a lot of reports that come out in this sector, as we know, that they can be a long read and people don't often have the time. So if we can have a look at one of the report summaries, the inclusion one, you'll be able to see what we've done. So there's a report summary. It gives you all the top line information you'll need to get to grips with the report. You can access the report, but it gives you the key topics, steps. This one was on accessibility, talking about how important accessibility in terms of inclusion of people with disabilities are in the workplace and how it can aid productivity. It gives you all the top line information in a really bite-sized format. And there's a text version. You can share the PDF as well. So it gets the report, it gets you the top line in a really quick way, but there's also the link to the actual full report as well if you'd like to learn more. So there's a range of resources, social, environmental. There's content about legislation, which is really useful for suppliers. Really recommend this one. Lots of helpful fact sheets on all the specific legislations that are coming out in Europe and how it affects suppliers. There's carbon training. Catwalk to come. That was the Fashion Producer Collective report. So this is the carbon training. This is really useful. Again, if you're on the supply side, really recommend this. They've also got resources in Vietnamese and local languages available as well. So that's a quick snapshot of the hub. I really recommend, I've put the link in the chat. Please take a look. There is loads and loads of fantastic information in there that will really help you. And I'm now going to pass over to my colleague, Andy, who's going to tell you a little bit more about some of the other resources and tools we have on the hub.
Thanks very much, Melanie. I am going to move into the community side of the Asia Garment Hub. So starting with circles. Now, circles are online discussion forums. They're spaces where you can connect with others around any shared goals and challenges around topics of interest to you. You can share experiences, insights. You could post about tools you've discovered that you found useful. And the idea of these is very much along the theme that's already been mentioned a few times, that people from different organizations, from suppliers and brands and NGOs and so on, from across the region, from across the world really, can engage with one another and explore different ideas. So as we've dived into here, the Sustainable Sourcing Circle, this is a list of all the different members who are part of this circle. And you can click on any of them and it will take you to their profile and you can message them. Within a circle, you can also join, start a discussion. If there's not an existing discussion within the circle, you can post a new discussion, or you can join in an existing discussion. So here, if we go into one of these, then we can post a comment, we can add links, we can add files, we can, yeah, all the things you'd expect and more. So that's within that circle. And then this is a list of all the different circles. The Asia Garment Hub circle here is one that I recommend you join if you haven't already. A lot of people attending this webinar already in this circle. And there's a lot of different interesting topics to engage with there. We do have, if we go to the supplier perspective circle, I can introduce you to the moderator functionality. So we have these circles that are facilitated by different people and different organizations. This one is moderated by the STAR Network, who we're going to hear from later. And the two main features that STAR Network can do here, one is posting a notification at the top of the circle, which you see there. Now that could be anything from a report you've published or an event that's coming up. But the key thing with that is it could then be emailed to all members in that circle. So it's a great way to get in touch with everyone. And facilitators can also pin resources at the top of the circle. So here, STAR have added their position papers and their country reports. So if anyone on this webinar, if you or your organization would like to moderate a circle, want to facilitate one, then do just get in touch with us. So looking at all the circles very briefly within the Asia Garment Hub, these are all ones that you can join. There's one for storytelling for sustainability. That's got some great discussion topics in it. The two newest ones are Worker Voices Circle. So that's the SARA network is facilitating that one. And you're going to hear from them a bit later. And then as we've just explored, the Supplier Perspective Circle. So moving on to the Partner Organizations tab within the Asia Garment Hub. I'm flying through this, but these are different ways that you can take part in this network. So these are different organizations that you can reach out to. You can also, anyone in this webinar can set up their own organizational profile. You could be from any type of organization. And if we dive into the RISE one here, then we can see an example of an organization profile, including at the top here, a notice. So they posted this notice, and that has gone across the whole Common Objective platform in lots of different places, including alongside relevant articles and on people's dashboards and so on. So this is a good way again and the notice board here, as you see, it's a good way to get word out about anything you want to get word out about. You can connect with anyone on the site. You can connect with any organization on the site, including suppliers. So if we go to the supplier showcase, here the most sustainable suppliers show up first. We've got quite a few of these suppliers attending this webinar. Great to have you in this. Tamsin, if you could go to supplier showcase. Great. And so, yeah, there's a ranking algorithm that sits behind the platform that ranks based on sustainability. So but this is full of really, really fantastic suppliers I encourage you to reach out to. Seen quite a few comments in the chat from brands looking for new suppliers. So do browse this section of the Asia Garment Hub and get in contact with those suppliers. If we move on to the workspace now, so everyone has their own workspace if you've signed up to the site. And here you can see any circles that you've joined. So you can see any circles you've joined, and then you can also see ones that you haven't yet joined. You can also see any connection requests. So if you've got anyone who's trying to connect with you through the site, then you'll see that as well here. You'll also be notified by email on that. You'll also see any resources that you're matched with and any resources you've bookmarked, which is something you can do as you browse the site. So my time's up, I think. Just a reminder of 3 things. 1, join the Asian Garment Hub circles and engage with others on those. If your organization are interested in facilitating, moderating a circle, just reach out. And then the 3rd thing is do reach out to any suppliers and check out your personalized dashboard, which shows you any relevant things that are relevant for you, including people, content, and businesses. So I'm going to hand back to Melanie for the next part.
Great. Thanks so much,
Just
Andy.
one point to make quickly. I've noticed that 2 people have their hands up. We're going to move into speakers, but if you have a question, please post it, and we have a little bit of time for you to ask questions after that. But also, if it's about understanding how the site works and how to engage with it, we have a number of demos that you can join, and we'll make sure that there's a link sent to everybody who participated so you can have one and ask your questions, get more detail that way. Handing over to you, Melanie. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Tamsin. So it's my pleasure to introduce our speakers today, and I'm going to start by asking Vic from Star Network to join me. Vic, can I ask you to introduce yourself very briefly, your role and your organization?
All right, thank you, Melanie, and hello, everyone. Lovely to be here today. My name is Sobachiya Saron, but I go by Vic because I'm a chronic victim of misspellings and mispronunciations. I'm based here in Cambodia, and I'm the network manager for the Star Network, which is the sustainable textile of the Asian region. And I'm proud to say that we are a unique platform of a network of manufacturer associations, 9 of them across 6 countries across Asia. We work towards the building, of course, of our resilient and sustainable textile industry through connecting these guys from different places and allowing them to basically talk to each other. Regional dialogue, which leads to, of course, the subject of our webinar today, collaboration. And we have done that through quite a few things, but I'm sure Melody will be asking me throughout this whole
Well,
session.
you've anticipated my question, Vic. So I was going to ask,
indeed.
well, yeah, collaboration, that's the theme of today's webinar. So obviously it's built in, it's hard baked into the Star Network. But could you tell us a little bit more about collaboration, how you've been able to achieve impact through collaboration at your organization?
So within the Star Network itself, we have 9 member associations. And throughout the time that we have been able to establish the network, we have opened up dialogue. We've been able to talk about the issues that each country was facing. And often, a lot of them were mutual. But through the Star Network, we've been able to share best practices, what work, what doesn't. And we realized that coming together, we've been able to establish something called the position papers, sort of our flagship knowledge product, so to speak, stating the problems that are present in each of the country, are how we can mutually work to solve it. And basically, just being a position for the manufacturers. Through Star, we represent almost 35,000 of them. So that's quite a lot. And with that, we've been able to make a united stance on some key issues like audit fatigue, fair purchasing practices, and the crucial adoption of renewable energy as well. Of course, organizationally, Star also has been able to collaborate through MOUs with other networks or type of associations like APTEX, for example, the ASEAN Federation of Textile Industry. We also are ongoing in our collaboration with the IAF, the International Apparel Federation, tackling the very same mutual issues that we all face, but together and with more information. So yeah,
Vic, can I just ask you a question? You mentioned some of the topics that you've been collaborating on to create further
Right.
impact. You mentioned audit fatigue. We have
Mhm.
a great article in the Hub about audit fatigue. Is there anything you can tell us a bit more about that and how you've been able to do that?
So well, issue of fatigue, it's it's a resounding thing throughout the entire supply chain, so to speak. And I believe every manufacturer or supplier even is able to have their own horror story or anecdote about those things. It's there's too much of it. Sometimes it's excessive, and it goes against the point of having all these audits, which is to ensure compliance, it's risk management and stuff. But we're just basically throwing thousands of these solutions at a problem in an unorganized way, and it works against the whole point of having them in the first place. Sometimes these are just some anecdotes. Manufacturers might get audits from the same auditor multiple times for different brands or different clients. So just some of the smaller examples, and you can imagine the frustrations that builds up with some of these things. It's inefficient, and it just doesn't work effectively, efficiently, like it should. And our initiative in getting our members to talk about that disposition paper was to try and start the conversation into how we can make the system actually work, rather than just not mindlessly, but just keep throwing that solution at this big problem.
That's great, Vic. Just because I'm in the interest of time, I am going to move on to our second speaker, but thank you so much. I really
Thank you.
appreciate it. It's
Yeah.
great to hear about the Star Network. And I'm going to introduce you next to Annette Sotti, who is here with two hats on. She is one of the co-founders of the Fashion Producer Collective, which I mentioned earlier, and also is representing Yi Chain Limited, which is a Taiwanese fabric manufacturer. Annette, can I ask you to do the same to briefly introduce yourself and the two organizations that you're representing today?
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon or good evening. My name is Annette Soti, and I'm representing two hats today here. One is E-Chain. It's a textile manufacturer for footwear. We are based in Taiwan, and I'm an advanced R&D lead, mostly focusing on global sustainability and circularity BI solution scaling. And my other hat is today here is as a co-creator, co-founder of the Fashion Producer Collective, which is a only producer-led sustainability think tank transforming the business models and the partnership in the textile and in the fashion sector.
Thanks so much, Annette. So I'm going to put the same question to you that I put to Vic around collaboration. Obviously, again, Fashion Producer Collective, collaboration is very much at the heart of what you do. But could you tell us a bit more about that? And are there any examples in terms of impact that you've been able to achieve by coming together in this way?
Yeah, first of all, I would be very interested if the participants could share with me in the chat if they attended any of the supplier meetups over the past months or the past one or the 2 years. So thanks to the Asia Garment Hub initiative and also to the supplier meetups initiative, we had a platform when manufacturers could come together on a monthly basis, and we could actually share a challenge or a pain or just something we were actually tackling to deal with in our daily operation, in our work. And we could have other manufacturers, other producers to actually co-discuss the similar or the same case. And we could also learn from each other based on each other cases. So why we actually co-created the Fashion Producer Collective is basically because of 3 reasons, but one main reason for sure, to actually amplify manufacturer voice in the industry. Because so the other 3 reasons why we co-created it and why collaboration is the greatest force for all of us is because, so on one hand, we all are one way or another members of different kind of organizations. And as manufacturer could actually experience is that our voice might be a little bit underrepresented or not heard enough. So Fashion Producer Collective can support to have an amplified, a great effort voice of this collective of the supply chain industry. Second, we all are affected, no matter if we are a brand or retailer or a producer, by the new EU legislatives landscape. And for example, with teaming up with other producers, we also co-created how we interpret it and how we actually work with the EU legislation framework. And also, actually, many brand partners of even ourselves from eChain actually ask us to share it with them and also discuss, because we all are basically doing the same work, trying to understand, translate, interpret, and then implement. And with the Fashion Producer Collective, we can all do it together.
Just to interrupt there, Annette, just to let everyone know that you can find the guide, which is a really useful guide. It's the version 2.0, which is now on the Asia Garment Hub. So you can access the supply guide to the EU legislation on the hub. Annette, just because we're short on time, I'm just very much, we've only got a minute left. Can I just touch upon the tariff situation? Has that affected your members? I mean, I know we're in a bit of a holding position at the moment, but I just wondered if I could get a reaction to how your organization and members are feeling about this at the moment.
We also want to ask this question everyone, but obviously we also try to be more prepared and to exactly again, because of this Fashion Producer Collective and being connected, being in a collaborative platform with our manufacturer peers, we can co-discuss, we can message each other safely, and also we discuss how tariffs are affecting our peers in Pakistan or in Sri Lanka or in India. So we all learning from each other and actually we can also empower and build a capacity for each other to react to that. But answering your question, just to make sure, I personally, and also discussing with our department and our team and with the peers, I really hope that the end consumer, the end customers, like you, Melanie, like myself, Annette, we will also pay the price, and we actually carry the load of what the tariffs mean. So not just the whole value chain takes it with it, but also the consumer. And even latest news is that one of the biggest, or like a giant retailer, already announced that customers be ready, the price increase is coming and everyone actually will feel it. So I welcome it, because not only the value chains should actually bear and carry it, but the end consumer who is buying and making the vote for this piece of product or for this other piece of garment.
That's great. Thanks so much, Annette. I'm going to move on to our third speaker now, who is Smita Nimilta, who is joining us from Rise. Smita, can I ask you to do the same and give a quick introduction about yourself and your organization?
Sure. Thank you, Melanie, and thank you, Common Objectives, for inviting Rise to this webinar. I'm very pleased to be here. So I'm Smita from Rise. I manage one of our programs called Rise Foundations globally. Rise is an initiative to support collaborative industry actions at scale to promote women's empowerment and gender equality in the global supply chains. We work together with our company members, suppliers, they're also our members, local implementing partners, women and men workers directly to promote worker well-being in the garment, footwear, and textile industry. We are present in 9 countries, mostly in Asia and also in Latin America. So that is Rise. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. Thanks, Smita. And obviously, again, your organization, collaboration is absolutely the foundation and the backbone. You're a number of organizations that have come together to create impact. Can you tell us a bit more about how you've been able to create impact through collaboration?
Sure, thank you. So back in 2023, actually 2 years back, so 4 largest women's empowerment organization or women's empowerment programs actually, Gap Pace program, Her Project, Be It Better Work International, and Care International, they came together and created RISE to basically expedite the scale of our work and to deepen the impact. Individually, like all these founding members, they could reach around 5 million workers actually over 15 years. But since last 2 years, since we formed RISE, we have already reached 700,000 workers across all these 9 countries. So these numbers actually show the power of collaboration. We could reach much more faster with all the partners together. And also at the moment, RISE has a multi-stakeholder steering board, including suppliers, brands, women's rights organization, labor rights organization, who actually jointly guide our work and provide directions to RISE. Also, another example of real impact is, for example, we were only working in Asia, but recently we have expanded our work in Latin America with the support from 3 of our company members. They actually decided to co-fund us so that we can expand in other geographies. So this is another example. And the third example would be like last year we have reached around 100 factories, and more than 60% cases, actually our company members, like multiple company members and suppliers together, they decided to sort of join the program and fund the program. So which means that all these partnerships, and because all these companies have decided to work together through us, we could reach to certain numbers in very short period of time. So that is the power of collaboration.
That's great. So it's really enabled you to scale impact exponentially by collaborating this way. It's fantastic. Thanks so much, Smita. I'm now going to move on to our final speaker, who is Sandy Tun, who is joining us from ISARA Institute. Sandy,
Yes.
Can I ask you to introduce yourself and tell us a bit about ISARA Institute, please?
Sure. Hi, everyone. This is Sandy, and good evening here in Bangkok. So, for me, I came from a sustainability background and owning a handful experience working for the international fashion retailers, as in CNA, Primark, and H&M at their sourcing offices in Myanmar. And after some times working in the industry, I decided to move working for the nonprofit organization. So I joined ISARA, and I moved ISARA like 1.5 years ago. So pretty much moved to Bangkok and settling in here. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Sandy. So again, collaboration. Can you tell us what that means to ISARA and how you've been able to use collaboration to bring about change?
Yeah, ISARA Institute is an independent nonprofit organization based in Asia and the United States. So mainly focused on the tackling human trafficking and forced labor from the lens of business and human rights. The institute was established in 2014 by a team of anti-trafficking experts coming out of United Nations, who created an alliance of private sector, civil society, and government partners committed to the transformational, sustainable, worker-driven approaches to labor issues, especially those occurring in global supply chain. So here with ISARA, we have a lot of partnerships and collaboration with global brands such as Nike, Tall Apparel, which is the garment setters, and then we also have other seafood industries, automobiles, and then electronic setters as well. And then if I have to run you through, sitting at the core of ISARA's work is we have a system called Inclusive Labor Monitoring, ILM, which is a worker voice-centered tech system and multi-stakeholder collaboration platform, equipping global brands and retailers, suppliers, recruitment agency, and government with the tools to drive more ethical supply chains and engage meaningfully with workers and civil societies. So the ILM, Inclusive Labor Monitoring System, also comprises of ISARA Independent Worker Voice channels, and that channel has multilingual worker voice accessible and empowerment programs for migrant workers as well as local domestic workers as well. And that one is independent and secure cloud-based case management system as well. And the impact for that ILM so far is that from 2022 to 2024, we have about 150,000 worker rights issues getting remediation successfully.
That's fantastic, Sandy. That's a great impact to report on. I was going to say that we have a circle, an Isara Institute circle that you can join if you want to talk more about Worker Voice. So I'll put that link in the chat in a minute. So please do come and join that circle if that is of interest to you. Thanks so much, Sandy, and to all our speakers. I'm now going to hand back to Tamsin.
Thank you very much. It's so inspiring to hear about all the work that's been done. So we've got a few minutes. If people have questions, please post them. I see there's one hand up. Before we get to that, I wanted to let David and Tia give us a little bit more on some of the achievements that you're most proud of and how you'd like to see those built upon related to a lot of this collaborative outcome manifested from the work that you did through the Asia Garment Hub.
Sure. Maybe I'll start and then David can add to all the achievements. So I think one of the biggest achievements is obviously bringing stakeholders together. We had around like 400 members on the hub, but to use the resources, you didn't even have to sign up. So I'm sure like there were a lot of more members who used the hub. And I think one of our strengths on the Asia Garment Hub was our resource library, which is partly also transferred to Common Objective. So we had around 900 high quality resources from leading organizations. We had around 4,000 downloads, and we brought obviously together a diverse community across brands, suppliers, trade unions, NGOs, policy groups. So I think the key achievement here again is collaboration. And yeah, I think the Asia Garment Hub as a platform is widely known in the industry. That this you can also see through the 230,000 page views we have. So people are using the hub, especially to get information and resources, and also like to learn what is happening in the industry and see and learn about best practices and what exists already.
Yeah, just to add to that on my side, obviously Tia's laid out some of the numbers, and they definitely speak for themselves. But there's also a few kind of more qualitative markers of success. I mean, we have user testimonies. I've spoken to various organizations and colleagues from across the industry who now use the hub as a resource. They turn to the hub to stay informed. But they also contribute their own work. They use the hub to expand the reach of their work as well. I've also heard from journalists who rely on the hub for credible, up-to-date information when they're covering the industry, which is very important. The accuracy of journalistic coverage on the industry. So I believe that we're not just creating good content, but we're also building trust among different stakeholders. And yeah, on the subject of trust, I think if we go back to the some of the early days of the hub when because we were founded just on the eve of the global COVID-19 pandemic, we quickly found our purpose in convening the Asian Dialogues webinar series, which was regularly getting several hundred people together from across the industry to talk about really pressing issues in the industry, and that gave us momentum going forward because that was really the beginning of the hub. So that was a kind of formative early success. We have also struggled really to keep on top of the requests for collaboration. Organizations that want to build new elements into the hub. They want to partner with us on content. They want to create mini portals for training. We managed to accommodate some of these requests, but I hope that this momentum continues and Common Objective is in a better place to really meet the demand for this type of collaboration in a way that we perhaps were not able to do.
Thank you very much. I mean, I think the continued success of the hub really depends on this community, which we're starting to get an idea of in the chat. Really inspiring individuals who are part of it. So it's very easy for anybody who wants to create a circle to upload content. We can give you a free notice board capability. There are lots of options if you're ready and able to share. We've got a couple of minutes and we've got a few people. So Salma Ali, you've had your hand up very patiently. So I've just given you the opportunity to talk if you want to share what it is that you wanted to ask. If you're still there, you're muted. Are you there, Salma? Okay, we also have Layla. Layla, would you like to talk? I'm just giving you the microphone. Would you like to ask a question?
Hello, everybody. My question is there real support for like new small businesses in fashion who want or who are in the stage of development in terms of strategy, business model, etc.? Or is it more for bigger businesses and the like?
Thank you so much for sharing that. And I think you're not alone in this room. Certainly, a lot of the participants on Co are SMEs, both suppliers and brands. We do have content and support. There's a circle called Small But Perfect, which is a community. So our largest circle, actually over 1,000 members. And on there, you'll find experts, you'll find individuals who have answers to some of your questions, people who've done it before, people who do provide resources. But we also find that if it's sourcing you're looking for or promotion of your brand, you may find the Common Objective platform helpful. So yeah, again, a reminder that we have a demo option that you can sign up for if you want to know more. Does that answer your question?
Yes. Yes, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And we've got a question from Tejaswini. I apologize if I have not pronounced that correctly. I've just given you the microphone.
Hey, good afternoon.
Welcome. Oh, audio is not very good.
From India.
That's better.
And here in this forum.
Do you have a question?
Hope I'm audible.
You are now.
2 points to. I am working for an NGO, an international organization. Rather, we are into funding. I'm leading a project for labor rights. So we have designed the program as Women Empowerment Program, and basically we are implementing this project through the NGO partners in Karnataka in India. Well, I have seen, like even after having a lot of efforts put in, with a little bit of change in the strategy to work with the women workers, a lot of repressed inner stories are still there. I think we need to really more connect with these women workers to have a different strategy to do that, and we need a little more collaboration, support, resources supports on that. So that is my first point. And the second point is like in a place called Bellary in Karnataka, in India, where there is a jeans hub. It used to be earlier a jeans producing place for Britishers earlier, but then like of late, it's really lost its charm, and the business there is really down. So we have tried to create an association of the producers there. So if they can also get some collaboration and get some help, the business support or in any possible ways, if they can get, that would be fantastic. So these are the two things that I had from my side.
Thank you so much. It sounds like we need a circle on finance opportunities or support for producers. There is in the Asia Garment Hub a Worker Voices circle, which may be right for the first point you mentioned, and we'd welcome you to participate in that. And this is the beginning of the conversation. There's a question in the chat about financing. So to be how's co-financed? It's a combination of premium capability that so upgrades and partnerships. We partner with organizations to deliver different elements of our work. But certainly I think it's no easy task driving change in the fashion industry, but collaboration is perhaps the way to support that. We're coming to the end. I'm just going to share my screen with some final pointers on where we can go next. This isn't the end of the conversation. This is the beginning of the journey for us with the Asia Garment Hub. Please do join a circle. You can join in a single click once you're a member of Common Objective. It takes you 2 minutes to sign up. A couple of things are asked when you sign up for Co, because that helps the site deliver a personalized dashboard to you. But then once you're in, everything can be joined in a single click. If you'd like to create a circle, we're really open to that. It's the way that we can keep this alive and have our community to engage and to create content. If you would like to have a partner profile in the partner section, that is very easy to do. And as we showed before, we can easily give you the capability to create a notice so you can start talking about what you do. So much can be gained. Collaboration isn't easy. Sometimes it takes longer, but it is always really the way we see it is there's no way we can get beyond these huge challenges without it. So thank you very much. Any final points to add from any of the speakers? We had a question about sharing delegates. We can certainly put together a delegate list and share that with all. The very best way for you to connect with delegates is in circles. And perhaps one thing we could do is upload some of the, we'll be uploading the recording from this webinar and some of the details from the webinar so that you can join others there. Thank you again. Thank you very much, everybody.